Let's bring you one more big story, business story rather, that the United States has filed a landmark lawsuit against tech giant Apple, accusing it of monopolizing the smartphone market and crushing competition. In the lawsuit, the Justice Department alleges that the company used its power to limit competitors as well as options available to customers. Apple denies the claims and has vowed to vigorously fight the lawsuit. Let's turn now to Botswana, where the country's president has criticized the proposed bill in the UK to ban the imports from the trophy hunting of endangered species. The British government says the ban will play an important role in protecting threatened wildlife, but the government of Botswana says hunting is necessary as it has too many elephants. They also say the industry is an important source of income and creates jobs for local communities. The biggest scandal to hit Japan's baseball sensation Shohei Ohtani after his interpreter was fired by his team over allegations of theft. And in Greece, an endangered pygmy hippo has been born at Athens Zoo.
Police in Haiti say they've killed one of the country's top gang leaders amid the ongoing violence. Separately, the UN warns about the struggles of getting aid into the country. Shares of Reddit closed 48% higher on their debut on the New York Stock Exchange on Thursday. That makes it one of the biggest ever initial public offerings by a social media platform and signals a strong investor appetite for tech listings. Reddit has not turned an annual profit since the year 2005, but the company enjoys a devoted following. Some 76 million users checked into one of its 100,000 communities in December, according to a regulatory disclosure. 16 states here in the U.S. have filed a lawsuit challenging the Biden administration's ban on new applications for the export of liquefied natural gas. The Republican-led states argue that the federal government lacks the authority to deny those permits. Texas's attorney general said that the ban damaged the U.S. economy and would limit supplies to European allies who are trying to stop using Russian gas. The Biden administration decided to pause those permits in January amid pressure from environmentalists. President Zelensky is renewing calls for more military aid from Western nations amid more Russian missile attacks. It comes as EU leaders met for a conference in Brussels on Thursday to discuss getting more weapons to Ukrainian forces while also rearming their own countries in the face of an emboldened Vladimir Putin in Russia. The EU also approved the Balkan nation, Bosnia-Herzegovina, to start membership negotiations. An AI tool being tested by the NHS in the UK successfully caught tiny signs of breast cancer in 11 women that was missed by doctors. That tool is called MIA. It analyzed the mammograms of over 10,000 women. The signs it caught were tumors that were practically invisible to the human eye and might not have been caught until it progressed. Each case also had a human reviewing them in addition to the AI tool. And before we go, a story of a lucky find against all odds. Now, Richard Brock in the UK found this 64-gram nugget of gold on farmland during an organized dig. It's thought to be the largest piece of gold ever found on English soil. It almost never happened. Brock was an hour late to the dig. His metal detector was not working properly. But the nugget is being sold with an asking price of up to $50,000. Mr. Brock says he's going to split the proceeds with the owner of the farm where he found it. Very generous offer there.
Let's take a look at the front pages today. We'll start with the Mirror. It leads on the long-awaited report into the millions of women born in the 1950s who were affected by the increase in the state pension age. The paper echoes the recommendations of the Parliamentary and Health Service Ombudsman, saying the women should be paid what they're owed by the government.
Yes, that story also picked up in the Express, in many of the papers actually this morning. Express focusing on the Women Against State Pension Equality report. Again, mirroring comments from the watchdog as the newspaper calls on the government to pay up compensation to the women affected as a matter of urgency. And then we look at the Telegraph. Main story today is about the cost of sickness benefits. Could rise, they say, by a third by the end of the decade, from around £65 billion this year to more than £90 billion.
Front page of the Daily Mail says there is fury at a redesigned cross of St George on the New England football kit. The design features blue and purple horizontal stripes in what Nike called a playful update.
Just one thought from the inside pages, and always like to celebrate a birthday, a significant birthday today. And I look in the list, I see that it is William Shatner's birthday today.
Oh,
Famous,
right.
of course, as Captain James T. Kirk in Star Trek. And today, William Shatner is 93 years old. And this is a man who's led a life. He pretended as an actor to go to space and then actually went to space at the age of 90. And if no one has ever listened to it before, do take a moment to listen to William Shatner's version of Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds.
No, you've spoken about this before.
Which is different, to say the least. And if you want to celebrate his birthday today, have a listen to that.
Completely opposite, but I'm always fascinated by how scientists go about their business and do their research. And so they were looking into how people smell, particularly how younger people smell and then teenagers smell. And in order to conduct this experiment, they had to analyse sweat from cotton wool pads, which had been sewn into the armpits of clothing and worn at night by 36 participants. And what they had found is that... Now, look, I would say if you're at this moment trying to get a teenager out of bed, just think of their hormones, because this affects it. And you kind of go into their bedrooms and it's a bit whiffy. It's because teenagers will smell more of urine, goat's cheese, peppers and wax. This is after they go through puberty, right? The study then compared the odour of teenagers to infants between the age of 3, under the age of 3. And the toddlers smelt flowery and soapy. Because, you know, like, toddlers smell nicer. Anyway, babies smell nice, don't they? And it's because they have the ketone alpha-isomethyl-ionone substance. That, you know, that one. Yeah. They have... and teenagers have higher levels of carboxylic acids. So add to the smell of them green bell peppers, cheese, coriander as well, and dried plums.
Who conducted that
research? This was done by scientists at the Aroma and Smell Research Facility at the University of Erlangen-Nuremberg.
OK.
They were analysed through the laboratories and professional smellers.
That's
what a job.
That's quite a job, isn't it? What are you going to do today at work?
Cotton pads that have been stuck under the armpits of teenagers. Joy.
There's a thought.